If you go in thinking you're going to get 50, 60, 70% returns, you're going to get lured into the get rich quick crap on the internet because somebody's going to sell you this crazy program on how you can get these insane returns in the markets when in reality, the average returns have been somewhere between 7 to 10% a year. Does that mean that they always go up? No. Sometimes they go down. Sometimes they go up more, but that's the average. So you got to understand now what types of returns that you want. If you want to get higher returns, it is possible, but you're going to have to get more involved, but you're also going to have to understand the risk. You got to decide, are you going to be passively or actively investing your money into these passive assets? But the key is now your money is also working to grow. However, there's a risk. There's a risk you could see a market crash. There's a risk you could see a recession. There's a risk that the assets that you invest in go down. However, you also have the potential for more reward. And generally what we see happen is if you invest in good assets and you see a market crash, if you hold on to it, well, then you'll be able to make your money back. But this is where you have to also understand how do you control your emotion, which is a whole different part of investing, the psychology of investing, which is one of the reasons why so many people end up losing money. It's not because they pick bad investments, it's because they don't know how to manage their investments. But that's a topic for a different video. See, when you invest actively into a stock, you have to spend the time to find a good investment, but you're not actually operating the investment. Here, when you find a good investment, you have to spend the time to do that, but then you also have to spend the time to operate the investment. That's what can allow you to get even higher returns. But it also comes with the most risk. I invest in startups, but startup investing is risky. The statistics say that something like 9 out of 10 startups will fail. So that means 9 out of 10 of the companies statistically that I invest in will fail. The goal is that the 1 out of 10 company will make up for all the losses, but there's no guarantees that you're ever going to find that 1 out of 10. And when you go out and you invest in a business, maybe you want to go out and invest in a franchise. You want to go out and buy a laundromat or a convenience store. Well, now you can take the $10,000, use it as a potential down payment to buy the asset. You're buying the business. And now you're going to have to also work to grow the value of the company, to grow the profit of the company, because now you're buying the asset. Or you could take the $10,000 and use it to fund your own business idea. There's an unlimited number of options of things that you can do here. If you have a business idea, you can use this money as seed capital to help you get started. I have a company called Briefs Media. That is my full-time job. I am the CEO in that company. And now what I do is when I have extra money, when we make a profit, I can invest this money back into the company. What can you do with it? Well, we can invest this money into advertising to get more customers. I can invest this money into newer softwares. I can invest this money to hire more employees. I can invest this money into a new office. We can invest this money in a lot of different places with the goal of trying to grow the money. And now there's really no limit to what types of returns that I can get. But the question is, how are you going to do that? And how effectively can you scale it? And that's not always easy because the risk is that you do something wrong or that the business doesn't work. Because I can invest tons of money into the company, but if the company doesn't work, the employees lose their jobs and I lose my job, plus I lose all the money that I invested into the company. So there's a risk involved with it. And this is where you have to understand, number one, are you willing to entrust and believe in yourself? And number two, do you have an idea that's worth investing in? How can you now amplify your returns by having more dollars to invest? And this one ultimately comes down to either A, spending less money, and or B, earning more money. That's really where it comes down to. So now, if you want to invest for money, the first and most accessible thing, not the funnest thing, but the most accessible thing is you can spend less money. If you make $50,000 a year and you spend all $50,000, you have no money to invest. If you make $50,000 and you spend $40,000, you have $10,000 to invest. If you make $50,000 but you only spend $30,000, you have $20,000 to invest. Is it easy to live off of $30,000? No. Is it possible? Sure. But this is where now you can also work to earn more money. Now, if you're living off of $45,000 a year and you make $50,000, you can invest $5,000. But if you make $100,000 a year and you're living off of 45, now you can invest $55,000. So the question now is, what do you do to earn more money and what do you do to spend less money? I always recommend starting by spending less money because it is the most accessible thing and you have to know how to live below your means before you start earning more money. Because otherwise what happens is you start earning more money and you don't know how to control your spending, and now because you earn more money, you become more credit worthy. because banks see that your income went from 50 grand to 100 grand. Now all of a sudden, you got the bigger credit cards with bigger lines of credit. You got bigger home equity lines of credit. You got bigger lines of debt that banks are willing to extend to you. And if you don't know how to control your spending, now all of a sudden, you're going to drive a much faster car. You're going to end up in a bigger home. You're going to end up going to fancier vacations. And all of a sudden, you thought you'd have more money to invest, but you're really just in a worse financial situation now than you were before. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide on how to start generating passive income for free. All you gotta do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.